Hi, the BBC has just released a programme called Heston, My Life with Bipolar. And it's about the celebrity chef Heston Blumenthal, who quite recently has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and is now receiving treatment and medication for it and seems to be on the mend. And it turns out that I feature just a little bit in that programme. A few weeks ago, the producers of the programme got in touch with me and said, we think that an interview that you recorded with Heston a few years ago was during one of his manic episodes. And do you happen to have a recording of the interview? And me being me, I did. And I said to them, yeah, that was possibly the weirdest interview I have ever filmed. It's certainly incredibly memorable. And so I checked first of all with Heston that he was happy for me to share it with them. And in the programme, they play Heston this interview between the two of us to get his reaction. And the entire programme, Heston, My Life with Bipolar, is a really powerful watch. I recommend you go and watch it. And I just wanted to give my reaction to that programme and also my memories of the interview. So just for context, it was recorded in 2020 during COVID, and so everyone was locked down at home. The Click team were doing an amazing job. We were making the programme still every week from home, and we were getting all these amazing interviews with really well-known people because for the first time all these people were in the same situation, locked in their homes. They had plenty of time to spare for us. So I ended up interviewing the likes of William Shatner, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jamie Cullum, Hosier, and Heston Blumenthal. We were doing a program on technology in food preparation. I think the idea was, could you automate some of the preparations for food, given that we don't want as much human contact at the moment. So that was the premise of the interview. Heston was in his place in France on the end of Zoom, and I was just talking to him from my living room. And this interview went on for more than an hour. And as I say, it's the most memorable interview I've ever done. I mean, I don't know Heston, I'd never met him, I'd never really seen any of his work, so I didn't really know what to expect. But he would just go off on tangents left, right and centre. He would talk about metaphysical stuff and philosophical stuff and historical stuff and religious stuff. We talked about the origins of the universe, that kind of thing. And so, sometimes I do like to have a long chat in an interview, and I can see the director's eyes rolling, basically saying with his eyes, come on, get to the point. We want to go home tonight. But as it happened, there was no one else there. It was just me on my laptop and Heston on his. And so we chatted and chatted. I was very happy to roll with it and see where it went, thinking that we're only going to use like a minute of this interview in the programme, and it's going to be the bit that's relevant to the subject that we're talking about, technology and robots in food. But the interview itself went into all these different areas. And I suppose now, yes, I would describe him as manic. At the time, I wouldn't have used that word at the time because I didn't really know him and what his personality was like. If I'm honest, I came away thinking that he seemed either drunk or high. He was slurring his words a bit, but his willingness and randomness, willingness to talk about different things and the randomness to the subjects that he was hitting on, made me think that he was under the influence of something. Of course, I didn't know any better at the time, but now I understand for the first time who was actually on the other end of that internet connection, and he understands what was happening in his life. The bipolar disorder could very well be the reason that he was so creative in what he did, in the food that he became famous for. But also it had terrible effects on him and the people around him. And I do recommend you watch this program, Heston, My Life with Bipolar. He explores all of that. He watches this interview that I did with him for the first time, and as I say, I think it's possibly the only time one of his manic episodes was recorded, so it was caught on tape. And so I was very happy to help and be a part of that. Watch the program. I don't think we can make enough programs about different mental health issues. I think it benefits a lot of people to know that there are other people that suffer maybe with the same thing that they're going through, or being able to recognise what they go through in the program that's on TV. I'm a big fan of what Chris Packham is doing with Inside Our Minds, also on iPlayer at the moment. So please do go and check it out. Heston, My Life with Bipolar. It's fascinating, very moving and very powerful. And it's on iPlayer now.